Okay. All right. So this week, I did post on a BlazeNation website about the Epstein email files and all that stuff. But in all this episodes of, you guessed it, all the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world and all that stuff. So if I do say so myself, if you already know about Jeffrey Epstein, and could be life challenging. So I'll type in search box, because who wants to get inside their own files about this? Well, I hate to say this, but all the Pelosi Democratic things are reckless and all. And what happens next about this? Well, you gotta know about who wants to hide to save Corey Mills' election thing. So everything is going to be civilized about all those Epstein files on this. You give them the green light and all that. It says, I don't care. Well, everybody cares. So who is this lawmaker? Has been texting? Well, you ought to know by now. Her name is, it's not about, you guessed it, Michael Cohen or Stormy Daniels and all that. So trust me. Well, here's my take on this one. So who is the Congresswoman does stupid things about this? Well, her name is, yeah, that's right. That's, you guessed it, Stacey Plaskett of the great state of U.S. Virgin Islands. And this is why the documents has been released, last Wednesday for this House Oversight Committee. And this is why Epstein messages all that about the lawmaker, about Democratic delegate, you guessed it, Stacey Plaskett. And that's why her office has released a statement last Friday. And she reported to send a message right back to Epstein before the hearing about this. Because everything else can be civilized. Says, are you reading Epstein's message? Or no, not anymore, about chewing the interior of your bad, what? Mouth? Oh, God. It is so ridiculous. So how come goody two shoes. Yeah, that's right. Plaskett says all these things about the Epstein files. Well, do you know about the exchanges about taking down Epstein? This email changes everything about that as well. Well, the Epstein files doesn't nail Trump at all about this. See, that's why I posted on BlazeNation website last week. And now this week, you're going to see the evidence about all this, about this hoax about Republicans slammed the door on sharing all the Epstein files, are creating a huge narrative about this one. Because it doesn't even make sense at all. You see, it's all three parts about, Sarah Gonzalez analyzing this. And here's one of your worst nightmares that you don't want to try this at home about a nothing burger. Yeah, that's right. Epstein files. Listen to this from, you guessed it, Sarah Gonzalez, and see what the end will be look like about this. And you have any ideas at all, trust me, about this one? So who knows? Hakeem Jeffries knows about the Epstein emails about this one. Listen to this.
Us, from the United States Senate to the House of Representatives at some point this week.
And Sarah Gonzalez says,
Look, go look over there, okay? And so I'm actually kind of getting the sense, I was really pissed off at President Trump for calling the Epstein files a Democrat hoax. I'm like, why would you say that? We all know that it's all true. What he did to actual victims is really true. And we know that there are a lot of people very high up in government, very wealthy, very important people who should be severely punished if it turns out that they were engaging in these acts with women. And so it kind of gives you a sense of like, oh, maybe he's calling it a Democrat hoax because he knows that these people are trying to use it and weaponize it against him, even though he did wrong, and they're still trying. And so,
and that's why she analyzing that as well. But the other, but that doesn't stop about all the emails about all. Yeah, you guessed it. Taking down Epstein could be changes everything about this one. But there's more from, you guessed it, that's right, Sarah Gonzalez analyzing this as far as we can.
Now, possibly the biggest smoking gun in all of this is that it might actually prove that President Trump was the person who took down Epstein. I want to go back to an email that we showed you yesterday where Jeffrey Epstein said, I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Virginia spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Now, if you look at what he's actually saying, the phrase is, the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. And I'm 75% there. 75% there would indicate that he is trying to solve something. And he's 75% there to solving something. We know that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Now, this continues to point toward the fact that President Trump may have been an FBI informant who actually turned Epstein in because, again, I showed you guys this yesterday. I'm going to show you one more time. A few months ago, when we were talking about all of the Epstein files, Mike Johnson seemed to accidentally slip on, he said it so casually, and he very clearly said he was an FBI informant and then had to walk it back. But you can't put the genie back in the bottle. This was a very big revelation from Speaker of the House Mike Johnson.
But did you know that Michael Wolff, oh God, hates Trump about this one? Remember I just said on last Friday's Friday Night BlazeNation podcast? Just listen to it.
Hey, everybody.
Listen to it, and do you have any ideas about this one? I want you to take a look and listen to this right before very eyes and ears.
What Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff.
You see him.
It has great sympathy for the.
You see him. He stumbles on his words after he says that.
And there's more.
That there were underage women coming to his house.
What do you mean underage? What do you mean underage?
Who first informed the police about what was going on in Epstein's house. And from that point on, they were nothing but bitter enemies.
And you thought it was, a nothing burger? Did you? But there's more of this one about this Epstein files. Glenn Beck slams the door about this one because it's so absurd. Listen to this from Glenn Beck, host of the Glenn Beck program.
Jeffrey Epstein's back in the news today. Could we just, for the love of Pete, release everything that we have so we can move on from the Jeffrey Epstein thing? Here's the answer. No. Even if we release everything that we still have, this is going to go on for the rest of our lives.
Uh-huh. And what happens to this one? Well, it has something to do with Larry Summers. Or should we say all that about Jasmine Crockett, Blabbermouth Girl, and all that. But Nancy Mace and Corey Mills are clutching the heated exchange. And it failed, could be censored. But the Epstein files just backfiring Democrats to put their own traps. One more soundbite and wrap this up. Trust me, if you if you know what's good for you.
Oh, the Democrats thought that the
And can be civilized about this one. Trust me.
And then all of a sudden it was like, what files? Turns out there's no files. And so it was very strange. And now in hindsight, you have to wonder, maybe this was the whole play. Maybe this was some sort of 4D chess that President Trump was playing, because the Democrats knew they had to take the opposite stance of Donald Trump. Donald Trump says there's no files. Release the files. Release the files. And then they're like, we can redact it so it looks like we got him.
Well, you might say that, but I'll be analyzing this tomorrow on Friday Night BlazeNation podcast from Angels on Productions. And I'll do this at Do Space Podcast Studios at 90th 4th Street tomorrow. And we'll see what the end really looks like for these Epstein email files. And that could be dangerous. I mean, seriously, that could be dangerous to my knowledge about this one. So, to be continued, I'll do this tomorrow on Friday Night BlazeNation podcast from Angels on Productions, and we'll just wait to see about that as well. And that's my final thoughts, and I'm sticking to it. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Okay. So,